Have you ever wondered why countries outside of Russia decided to adopt communism? Let's look at China first and see what led to its decision and what happened after. Imagine a country full of internal tension and anger about foreign control. This was China in the early 1900s. People were fed up with warlords fighting each other, parts of the country controlled by other countries, the corruption of the nationalist government, and widespread starvation. On top of this, Japanese forces were invading. These problems created the perfect storm for the Chinese communists to take over. Once they seized power, the communists wanted to change how the country was run. They started the Great Leap Forward, trying to control the economy. But many of these plans didn't work and hurt the people. The government forced people to work on large communal farms, and many factories produced goods that nobody needed. This led to a huge waste of resources and widespread famine. The policy aimed to rapidly transform China into a socialist society through industrialization and collectivization, but poor planning and unrealistic goals resulted in economic disaster and the deaths of millions due to starvation. The unity of Chinese society under Mao created a new nation that could endure, however, and evolve into a different system that found success when it opened to the world. China wasn't the only place where people wanted to change how resources were shared. In Vietnam, the communists fought for independence and won. Ho Chi Minh led the Vietnamese struggle against French colonial rule, which culminated in the Vietnamese Revolution. After gaining independence, the government redistributed land from the wealthy landlords to poor peasants. This aimed to reduce inequality and improve living conditions, though it also resulted in violent conflicts and significant upheaval. The land reform campaign led to the execution and imprisonment of many landlords, causing social and economic disruption. Mengistu Haile Mariam led a communist revolution in Ethiopia, which also aimed to redistribute land and wealth. In Ethiopia, Mengistu came to power after overthrowing Emperor Haile Selassie. His government launched the Derg regime's land reform program, which nationalized all rural land and redistributed it to peasants. This move sought to eliminate the power of the nobility and large landowners, but led to economic disruption and famine due to poor implementation and resistance from various groups. The Red Terror, a violent political repression campaign, resulted in the deaths and imprisonment of tens of thousands of Ethiopians. In India, states like Kerala pushed for land reforms to help poor farmers. The land reforms in Kerala were part of broader efforts across several Indian states to break up large estates and give land to tenant farmers. These reforms aimed to empower the poor and reduce the power of wealthy landlords. Kerala's government introduced measures to set a ceiling on land holdings and redistributed the excess land to landless laborers, which improved social conditions but also faced legal and political challenges. Landlords often resisted these reforms, leading to lengthy legal battles and, in some cases, violent confrontations. In Iran, the White Revolution aimed to redistribute land and resources more fairly. Initiated by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the White Revolution sought to modernize Iran's economy and society. Land reform was a central component, with the government redistributing land from large estates to small farmers. While the reforms intended to reduce rural poverty and increase agricultural productivity, they often met with resistance from traditional landowners and religious leaders, leading to mixed results. The reforms disrupted traditional social structures, and many small farmers struggled to make a living, leading to discontent that contributed to the Iranian Revolution of 1979. But why did these movements happen? The main reason was that many people felt they didn't have enough land or resources, and the few people who did have them were not willing to share. These revolutions were an attempt to make things fairer. The Communist Revolution in Vietnam sought independence from colonial rule, leading to significant changes in land ownership and control over resources. Mengistu Haile Mariam's efforts in Ethiopia also focused on redistributing land from the wealthy to the poor, hoping to create a more equitable society. Land reforms in Kerala and other Indian states aimed to break up large estates and give land to tenant farmers. The White Revolution in Iran attempted to modernize agriculture and distribute land to farmers, although it faced significant challenges. So what did we learn? People will often take extreme measures to fix unfair situations. China's journey to communism was just one of many examples where people tried to change their world. And in the end, while they hoped for improvement, the path was often difficult and full of unexpected consequences. Why did some countries adopt communism after 1900? This question leads us through the story of struggle, revolution, and the hope for a better life, showing that history is full of surprising twists and turns. What revolutions would people make these days? Tell us in the comments, share with your friends, like the video, and subscribe for more AP history.